Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here we are continuing with the teachings of Lord Kapila related to the persons who are attracted to fruitive activities, and usually what they do, they perform pious activities, want to elevate themselves to some higher position, to some higher planets wherein some extra arrangement for their sense gratification is available. And Kapila Muni continues to say that if they don't surrender to the Supreme Lord, do not practice devotional life or become Krishna conscious, then what will happen? To whatever height they would have elevated, they have to fall down. In the earlier days of ISKCON in America, there were pamphlets distributed to bring people for the programs. So I think it was in San Francisco. Usually the audience, their target group was hippies, who were all drug addicts, taking LSD and other intoxicants. And in that pamphlets, they had printed, devotees, they had printed, stay high forever, through mantra meditation and all of these things. Stay high forever. Because they wanted to appeal to them. Those hippies, they were all taking intoxicants, and they used to tell, this terminology was used, staying high. Take some intoxicants and stay high as if floating in the air, completely aloof from whatever bodily, whatever problems or other things. And what to do? Till the time the intoxicant effect is there on the body, they were all forgetful of their bodily existence. But once the influence, the effect of the intoxicant, it vanishes away, again they become depressed, dejected, all problems, everything. So they were not liking this. So here was a proposal to stay high forever. So that of course we know it is possible only through Krishna consciousness. So same thing we see here. Any other person who is not a devotee of the Lord, he can elevate himself. There are varieties of ways, through his hard work, through the practice of dharma, following Vedic rituals in varieties of ways, economically, socially, some position, higher kind of facilities for sense enjoyment. He can go on elevating higher and higher and higher. One or the other day he has to fall down. He has to come back. There is no exception for this. It is only a devotee who can go higher and higher and higher, never to fall back. It is possible only for a devotee of the Supreme Lord. Any other person, to whatever highest level they may elevate themselves to, they have to fall down. So this is the main difference between a devotee and other karmis whom we see in the outside world. So that's what we see here in today's verse. Tataha te kshina sukritaha. In the previous verses, there was a description of performance of dharma or dharmic activities, Vedic rituals, through which they can elevate themselves to higher planets. So for that, Sukrita or Punya, pious credit is required. So with those pious credit, they elevate themselves to some higher planets. And after some time, tataste kshina sukrita. Kshina means exhausted. Their pious credit is exhausted. Put the petrol in the vehicle, drive around throughout the city, and once the petrol is over, the vehicle stops. So likewise, perform pious activities, elevate yourself to higher and higher, maximum up to Brahmaloka. A person can elevate himself and his Sukriti is over, then Punarlokam imam sati. Again he has to come back to this planet. Punarlokam imam sati. Patanti vivasha devaihi. Patanti means fall. Vivasha means helpless. In a helpless condition, he falls back. Just like someone goes to some big building, to the topmost floor, and from there someone pushes him. Helplessly, he will fall down. Likewise, we may elevate ourselves to a very high position, higher planets, and once Sukrita or pious credits are over, and helplessly he has to fall back. Patanti vivasha devaihi sadyo vibramshito daya. Sadhya means suddenly. It is not that gradually, slowly, through all of his hard work he went up, and okay, maybe slowly he'll come down. No. He goes up either fast or quick or slow, whatever it may be. And many a times the fall will be all of a sudden. Sadhyo vibramshita, caused to fall, udaya, with all his prosperity, name, fame, everything, there will be a fall down. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, it is sometimes found that a person elevated to a very high position in government service falls down all of a sudden and no one can check him. So in the history, we find lot of examples. People elevated to some high positions, especially in the government services. It may be a king, the prime minister, the president, in whatever terminologies we may use. All of such people today, they have got so much influence, commanding thousands and lakhs and millions of people, all resources at their hand. Next day, complete whatever different thing we have seen. Just like in the cases of, like earlier, we have heard of big assassinations of big prime ministers and presidents, maybe Saddam Hussein or John F. Kennedy. In our own country, Indira Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, they are all assassinated. They all held big positions, lot of influence. Next moment, they are not there. Their body is just thrown or burnt away, and they are gone forever. And this especially in the Bhagavatam, and just I was recollecting few examples. Throughout the Bhagavatam, we find so many examples for this. People, devotees also, being elevated to some high position, very high, influential, powerful positions, and next moment, they are not there. We find in the case of this, like King Chitraketu, a very great king, and he committed some offense against Lord Shiva. So next moment Mother Parvati cursed him to become a demon. He became Vritrasura. Likewise we find, especially the Pandavas, how they are supposed to be the monarchs, and one fateful day, the gambling match, everything they lost. They had to go to forest. And personally, the Supreme Lord himself, when he came as Lord Ramachandra, he was the son of a great king, emperor, and the next day he was supposed to be coronated as the king. All of a sudden, he was sent to exile, sent to the forest. So such examples throughout the history, in the Puranas, in the scriptures, we find. So as devotees, we should be very much aware of this. Our position, what is our position? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made it very clear, very simple for us to understand also. Trinadapi Sunichena. My position is lower than a blade of grass. So that is my position. No, I am a big tree, I am a big coconut tree, very tall, or banyan tree. One big wind comes, one big hurricane or something comes, everything will fall apart. But a small blade of grass, huge wind blows, it will just bend, whatever in the direction of the wind, and it's okay, it's normal, for nothing big happens. But here we find Nalakuvar and Manigriva also, the sons of Kubera. Sons of Kubera, in the height of their youth, pride, richness and everything, all of a sudden they committed offense against a pure devotee of the Lord, and they were cursed to become trees. And of course they were fortunate enough, Lord Krishna came and delivered them. So this is how it is. So we should, as devotees, we should be aware at any time, at any given point of time, at any moment, anything can happen. In whatever position, whatever influential position, place, or whatever a person may be exercising, at the blink of the eye, everything can be taken away. One more point to note. Srila Prabhupada says, quoting from the Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma bhuvana loka. A person would have elevated himself up to Brahmaloka. Even he has to come down again. But Krishna confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. So now, is it that eternally we have to always be fearful, oh, I may fall down, next moment I'll fall down? No, not required. Our stay in this material world is temporary. We should be aware of this. So, in temporary place, we should not be attached to whatever positions, to whatever possessions we may have, knowing well that it is temporary. But there is an existence, the spiritual world, the abode of the Supreme Lord, where if we can elevate ourselves to that place, the Lord promises in the Bhagavad Gita, Mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. If you come back to me, again you may not have to fall back to this material world. So there is such a position. So a devotee aspires for that. He doesn't aspire for any position of this material world, knowing well that it is temporary. As Shankaracharya, he says, Smaranitya Anityatam. Smaranitya. Always we should remember. What we should remember? Anityatam. This material world is temporary. Whatever we may have, everything is temporary. This body is temporary. Our relationship with so-called family members are temporary. Our ownership, proprietorship of whatever, my house, my vehicle, my property, that is temporary. Our position in the society, that is temporary. Our name, fame, everything, one day everything will wash and go. Everything is temporary. So we should remember this always. Smaranitya Anityata. Always remember the temporary nature of this material world. Now, we'll recollect one pastime from the Bhagavatam, wherein a devotee, when he is encountered with such a situation, when he is elevated to a very high position and he is made to fall all of a sudden, how his consciousness would be. So the example of Maharaja Bali. So we have heard the story sufficiently. Bali Maharaja, how he had conquered over all the lower planetary system, the middle planetary system, upper planetary system, everything. And so you can imagine such a high position he was in, through his might, through his strength, through his austerity and hard work. So he has achieved all of these things. And also, though he was born in a demoniac family, he possessed all good qualities. He was dharmic. He was following the Vedic rituals. He was performing a lot of sacrifices. He was devoted to the Lord. He was devoted to the Brahmanas, and all of these wonderful qualities Bali Maharaja had. So the Lord somehow arranged that to pull him out from that position, because he is the king of the Danavas. He may be pious, but all his associates, they were all other category people. They may use his influence for nefarious purposes. So the Lord had a different plan for Maharaja Bali. So when he came in the dwarf form of Vamana and begged for 3 steps of land, and Bali Maharaja agreed to give it away. Though his spiritual master insisted, no, don't give, there is something wrong going here, don't give. But still he went ahead and promised to give the donation of 3 steps of land. Till then he was a great king, all fully opulent, influential. The next moment, after giving this donation, accepting, giving word to him, the Lord Vamana, he grew very big, and just with 2 steps he acquired all of his wealth, acquired property. And Bali Maharaja was in such a position that he did not have anything to offer to the Lord. He did not have the land to offer for the Lord to keep his 3rd step. So he was very morose. He was not morose because, whatever property, so much hard earned, whatever this thing, everything is gone. He was not unhappy because of that. He was unhappy, he was morose, thinking, I have given my promise to the Lord and I am unable to keep it up. He was thinking, what should I give? What can I offer to the Lord? Where shall he keep his third step? That was the thing going on in his mind. By then all of his associates, they were thinking, oh, something cheating is happening here, and they wanted to attack Vamana. But Bali Maharaja forbade them, no, give up your weapons. And he was thinking, and finally he said, the giver of the charity is something higher than the charity itself. So my dear Lord, please place your third foot on my head. And just before this also, Garuda, looking at his position, that he had given a word, but he is unable to keep up his promise. Through Varuna Pasha ropes, he tied up Bali Maharaja. We can see one painting is there. Just having his hands back, tied with the ropes, he's standing in front of Vamana there. Just few minutes before was the great monarch, big emperor, and now he's tied up with ropes and with the guilt feeling that he's unable to keep up his word. See, that was the condition was being put into. But even in that condition, he did not become dejected or morose. He wanted to keep up his word. And when he came to know that this is none other than the Supreme Lord himself, and he had offered everything to the Supreme Lord, it did not cause any grief to him. On the other hand, he was very happy. Of course, the Lord also reciprocated by sending him to the Sutala planet and personally becoming his attendant there. So, this is one incident we can see how a devotee, in spite of such a great turbulence happening in his life, he was very patient. He was devoted. He did not give up his devotional attitude towards the Supreme Lord. Similarly, in the case of Maharaja Dhruva, with a material desire, he had performed tapasya, and when the Lord appeared before him and gave him the sovereignty of the entire big universe, and told him that 36,000 years you can stay here happily and then come back to me. Dhruva Maharaja did not become happy with that. On the other hand, he was morose. I missed the opportunity of going back to Godhead. What did I do? I desired for some material kingdom bigger than my father, bigger than my grandfather. So the Lord very kindly, He has given it to me. But another so many thousands of years, I have to continue my existence in this material world itself. So he became very morose. So this is the mentality of a devotee. He is not interested, attached to anything, any position, anything of this material world. Always desirous of serving the Lord. For the service of the Lord, if anything is available, well and good, he'll accept it. But always his mentality will be that of renunciation, detachment. This is the main teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Shiksha Tamekaha Purusha Purana. The Lord appeared to teach this Vairagya Vidya. This is one small story I would like to conclude. It seems like there were some travelers. Earlier days, people used to travel on the horseback. So few men, be some 5 to 6 men, each of them traveling on their horses, sitting on their horses. They were traveling to a distant place. So after some time, they felt tired, they were feeling hungry, thirsty. So in some forest place, some garden place, they stopped their horse ride. They paused for a while, got down their horses, and they had brought their lunch, everything. So everyone sat together. They made their horses drink some water, and some grass was available. They were all eating there, and these people all sat together. They had their dinner, and they were also drunkards. They had brought some liquor along with them, and they consumed that liquor. And when consuming the liquor, a lot of liquor had spilled around that area. The one or two bottles were left there. And in the drunken condition, again after everything, they got back to their horses and continued their journey. Now, there was one, what I might say, like one bug, one insect. The horses were there, and they ate some grass, and they had passed some stool there. Big lump of stool was there. One bug, it came from somewhere to that place. It passed through that area where that liquor, all those things were spilled, that alcohol was spilled there. And it also tasted that, consumed a portion of it, and it became much more intoxicated. And it saw the lump of stool of the horse there, and it thought, let me go and climb it. So with great effort it went and struggle, and step by step it went and reached the summit. And it was thinking, now I have reached, just like I have reached Mount Everest. And that was the way that bug was thinking, climbing to the top of the stool there. And when he was in that condition, somehow these travelers, they came back again. They had left something, they forgot to take something, so they came back again. The horses were parked there, and they took those items again. And in that time, another horse again passed through exactly on the same spot. So this insect which was telling, I am at the summit or the top or the topmost or whatever, again a big lump of stool came on its head, and everything was finished. So likewise, we need to understand all pride, being puffed up, our false ego, we may start thinking, I am something great, I am something very big achiever, or whatever material terminologies, different things you may call. But all of those things, at any given point of time, everything can be smashed. The Kala, feature of the Supreme Lord, Kalosmi Lokakshayakrit, everything he can annihilate. So as devotees, we should be aware of that and continue to perform our devotional activities in a detached manner and aspire to go back to Godhead. Yad gatva na nivartante. After going there, the Supreme Lord promises us that He will not allow us to fall back to this material world again. So we'll stop with this. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.